Hey guys, I know I haven't been streamed in a while. I've been waiting for this to drop, the new talents for Darktide. We're gonna go over each of the classes. Well, I guess each of the races, playable. I don't know what to call it anymore. But the Psyker, the Veteran, the Ogren, and the Zealot. I'm gonna pull up each of my characters. I'm hoping that the descriptions of each of the options that I can choose isn't sealed because I don't have the character the full level. But I know I have the Ogre and my Veteran the whole way to level 30, which is still the maximum level. And if anyone decides to play and just wants to make a new character and see how that works, you get a skill point per level that you make instead of each 5. They got rid of that, so you get a new skill point to go into the talent tree every level. So reallocating is completely free, so if you don't like the build that you currently have, or you just want to try them all out, it is completely free to respec your character. All classes start with an ability, a blitz, and an aura, so that's still normal. As you progress, you can augment them or acquire completely new ones. The Keystone talent adds an extra layer of strategic complexity to your combat approach. Get started. Alright, so this is a tree. It looks pretty good. Awesome. So I should be able to read the descriptions without needing to be full level. So I should be able to show it all off to you guys. I'm excited for this. I watched the YouTube video that they put up. I think it totally changes the way the Psyker's gonna play, and even the Zealot. So those are honestly, weirdly enough, considering I fully leveled up my Veteran. I love my Veteran. I love the shooting in this game. I like having my Ogren being that big gun. Twin linked auto cannon is makes you feel good, blowing people apart with it. But all that being aside, me liking how gunny and destructive the Ogren is and how shooty the Veteran is, the Psyker and being able to have different abilities looks really good. So first off, let's go over the Ogre, right? So, and it looks good right off the bat. So it looks like heavyweight. Damage against bulwarks, crushers, plague ogrins, and reapers also receive 30% damage reduction against the same. So it looks like you can head. It doesn't lock anything. So let's just put some points in too, because I can reset them all. So it doesn't lock behind anything. Can I unlock all these? Okay, so toughness. You get toughness. Toughness damage reduction. More toughness. Health, rending, reload, heavy weapon damage. So once you get to here, this is when stuff starts to lock for you and kind of send you down a tree. Now, by the look of it, if I go this direction, right? So let's see. If I go here, I can eventually get the whole way over to here. But if I think I'm here, I can't get to here. Because I would have to go down, obviously, then here and then down, or here and down. So let's see. This looks like the melee, kind of a melee direction. This looks like an ammo box. So it looks like if you want to do more damage to heavies, like Ogrins and stuff like that, you want to go down. If you just want to be smack happy and hit everything with your hands or bludgeons or swords, anything like that, melee, you want to be a melee guy, Ogrin, instead of shooting. For each enemy you hit during the same heavy melee attack, gain 2.5% damage on your next melee attack. That's nice. Makes you, I like to just swing my, what is it, bully club quickly. I don't do heavy attacks necessarily with it that much. So that wouldn't help me too much unless I find a good medium between heavy and light attacks, which with getting that benefit might help. Because it is a bonus to your next melee attack. So if I get a heavy in there and then I do a light, I keep doing that back and forth. I might be able to chop through quite a few enemies and then add that on top of this heavyweight. That might be awesome. Smash 'em. Replenish 25% toughness after hitting a single enemy with a heavy melee attack. That's really nice when you combine. So your heavy attack is doing more for you than one singular thing. So like replenish 25% toughness after hitting multiple enemies with a single heavy attack. So you can get your heavy attack to do all that right there. And then if we go down, big friendly rock. Toss a big rock or hunk of junk at a single enemy. Reduce effectiveness against carapace armored enemies and unyielding enemies. You pick up a new rock every 60 seconds and can hold up to 4 rocks at a time. Selecting this blitz locks all other blitzes. Okay, so these are your blitz abilities. What's this? That's a regular ability. And this is your keystone ability. And this is your aura. Alright, so blitz ability, aura, keystone ability. So your blitz, you can throw rocks. 4 rocks at a time. Kind of cool. I wonder how big the rock is, because if it's at a single enemy, so it can't be too big, I guess. So reduced effectiveness, so it means it's not very good against carapace armored enemies or unyielding enemies. So I wonder what the purpose of that rock would be. What kind of enemies? Not saying it's bad. I'm just trying to. I guess we would have to use it to try it out, see what it's good for. Bombs away. So I'm assuming the grenades. Throw a box of grenades with great strength and enthusiasm to deal high damage to a single enemy. Well, we know that for a fact. So is the rock similar to the grenades? Other than you can always replenish your rocks. Frag bomb. Throw an organ-sized, the only proper kind, frag grenade with a 16-meter blast radius, dealing increased damage at the center. That's kind of cool. Hitting an enemy causes the box to break open, releasing 6 grenades around the target. Okay, so this is augmented ability of the big box of hurt, which is your just normal grenades. Let's go more into the passives here. Range damage for 6 seconds on reload. That's nice, especially when you're a gunner. Linchpin, toughness replenished while in coherence is increased by 50%. That's nice. Steady grip plus 2% toughness regeneration while bracing your ranged weapon. Best defense. Replenish 25% toughness after hitting multiple enemies with a single heavy melee attack. Those are good passives. Let's see what these are. These are also passive. Slam. A melee passive. Plus 25% impact bonus on melee attacks. Soften them up. Enemies damaged by you take plus 15% more damage for 5 seconds. And then toughness, damage reduction, toughness. Point blank barrage, loyal protector, indomitable. Let's see what indomitable is. And it looks like this buffs indomitable. These buff loyal protector, and these buff point barrage. So point blank barrage swaps to, and reloads your ranged weapon. You have 25% rate of fire and 70% reload speed for the next 10 seconds. Add that with range damage on reload here. That would be awesome. And then add in the 2% toughness regeneration while bracing your ranged weapon. So firing, that'd be awesome. I bet that's pretty cool. It's about linking and finding what works and what buffs kind of overlap one another. They give you the most potency, I think. I think this is a good tree so far for the Ogren. Let's see how it gets buffed. Bullet Bravado. While Point Blank Barrage is active, replenished plus 2% toughness for every shot fired and plus 10% toughness on every reload. That's pretty cool. I mean, taking into account, here's a reload. So you reload, you get the buff, the plus 12% range damage, right? And then on that reload, you get a 10% toughness on each reload. So on just a reload, you get some range damage and your toughness. Okay? And then while it's active, you're replenishing toughness, so it doesn't matter if things are hitting you, you're replenishing your toughness. Your toughness is being regained a little bit on the reload. You're doing more damage after the reload's over to get those enemies back away from you if you want to be, a shooty Ogren. And then because you are going into brace mode to sweep them away, you get toughness regeneration on top of the 12. Look at that. Replenishment, 2% toughness for every shot fired. So you're almost getting 4% toughness regeneration, if that's correct. On top of, after a reload, you're getting 10% back as well. So that's a viable build to stay input and take care of mobs. Even taking out big targets. You just stand in the back corner and gun it down. Ranged attacks apply 3 stacks of burn while point blank barrage is active. That's pretty cool. Light them up. Burn them. I'll probably go that direction for sure. I like the shooty Ogren. Thick of the Fray. Remove 50% of braced movement speed penalties and gain 15% close range damage while point blank barrage is active. Nice. Hail of Fire. Plus 30% rending to your ranged attacks while point blank barrage is active. So, okay, so you have to pick one of these. It locks the others. Okay. I'll probably go with the burn. Alright, let's see how Loyal Protector. Taunt enemies within 8 meters, making them attack only you for 15 seconds. Base cooldown 45 seconds. Point Blank Barrage takes 80 seconds to cooldown, so double, pretty much double right there. Valuable Distraction. Enemies affected by Loyal Protector take 25% base damage from all sources. Nice. So you pop that, get the enemies to attack you, and if you have like your veteran or whatnot, veteran aims at those people focusing on your ogre in here, and you gun them down, get rid of them. So it looks like you can modify it with this one or this one. So let's see what this one is. Just getting started. Staggering an enemy replenishes 2.5% cooldown of your Loyal Protector. Nice. So if you get a good stagger weapon, and you just keep sweeping and staggering, it will replenish. It will lower the cooldown of your Loyal Protector, which allows you to pop it more often and keep enemies on you and away from, I'm going to call them soft targets, like your veteran. Obviously, I know a veteran can get kind of squishy when they get in the melee. If they just get hit too much, they aren't the most durable. So you want to keep your enemies off your veterans. That way the veteran can take their headshots and do the damage that they need to and get rid of, very valuable targets. That way it doesn't mess up your coherency, right? Or maybe your psychers. So your psychers can focus on their cooldowns. I don't know if there's still the cooldown, where you got to watch your warp energy and whatnot, but if there is, it allows their psyker to focus on that, take care of, the mobs, and keep maybe the ogre in clear. I think the skill tree might bring the viability of having a team that has a mixture of classes and not just all ogrins or all veterans. And I think a lot of us have already come to the knowledge prior to this new skill tree where if you have a 4-man team of ogrins, you shouldn't lose. You definitely shouldn't lose. But if you have like all psychers, who knows? I've heard quite a few people say a full team of psychers is really good. So, but I think the skill tree might want to mix that team up a little bit. That way you have a little more variety and not just all ogrins. But also, even if you do have all ogrins, the builds can be significantly different. Even if I go down the shooty skill tree, right? And I go this direction and I can come down to these two after coming here. And, once you're locked into, I think, one of these, well, you can go down in the middle or go the whole way over. So this allows you to go the whole way over or down. But once I'm right here, I might be able to. I think I gotta play with the skill tree. So I might be able to come after here, come down here, come up here, and then go down if I want this one. So it allows you a lot of play. I like it. So even though I'm a shooting ogrin, there could be a different shooting ogrin that went, he's shooting, but then he took Loyal Protector, so he brings everything to him while shooting him. Or maybe who knows? Charges through them and then shoots them in the back, maybe. What's this? Big Lungs. Loyal Protector has a 50% radius. So 50%. Let's see, what was the radius on it? Enemies within 8 meters, so it would be 16 meters. No, that's 100%. So half of a... So it gives it an extra 4-meter radius. Not bad. So 12 meters. Alright, Indomitable. Charge forward with great force. We all know that was one of, I think, one of the main abilities you had as an Ogryn. I used it quite frequently in some of my videos to break up enemies and then smack them all, and then get in a good shooting position and whip out my gun. Charge forward with great force, knocking back enemies and staggering them. Gain 25% attack speed and 25% movement speed. Yep, pretty much the normal bull rush. This is an augmented version of bull rush with an increased charge distance of 100%. Cool. Stomping boots. Replenish plus 10% toughness per enemy hit with Indomitable. Pulverize. This talent will lock some other talents. Apply 5 stacks of bleed on enemies hit with Indomitable. For each enemy hit by Bull Rush, you gain a stack of Trample. Trample increases base damage by 1% for 8 seconds. Max stacks 25. So you can make enemies take the bleed, or make enemies trample. You gain the trample stack or buff, increases damage. So that's pretty cool. Run through them, get the stacks. Like, you want to hit as many enemies as possible, right? For each enemy hit by the Bull Rush, you get a 1% base damage increase. So you rush through a mob, get that what is it, the possessed Ogryns or whatnot, the big bad guys, and you start beating the shit out of them, because now you have the damage buff because you ran through like 20 dudes. Alright, so left or right, we're going to do the other passives here. And then the middle is the health buff, reload buff over here, and rending buff right below Indomitable. So, Crunch. Plus 40% damage bonus and 40% impact bonus to your fully charged melee attack. Wow. That's... If you like smacking stuff, that's the way to go for sure. Batter. And picking one of these does not lock the other. Inflict plus 6 stacks of bleed on heavy melee hits. Ooh, that'd be cool to build a melee Ogryn just causing bleed. All you're doing is bleeding everyone dry. Apply 5 stacks of bleed to an enemy hit by Indomitable. You run through... I mean, even if you... monstrosities, right? You can bull rush in a monstrosity. It kind of staggers them a little bit. So you hit them, apply 5 stacks, right? And then you just start beating on them. And then you... 11 stacks of bleed. You can start tearing through some big enemies. That'd be fun. Hard Knocks. Plus 1% damage on your next heavy melee attack on enemy stagger. Stacks 25 times. Lasts 10 seconds. The larger the enemy, the more stacks are earned. Nice. Alright, Peacemaker. Or Pacemaker. Hitting 5 or more enemies with a single attack grants 25% reload speed for 5 seconds. I think that would be... I wouldn't say that would be the twin-linked autocannon passive that you would want. This would still work because it specifically says hitting 5 or more enemies with a single attack. It doesn't single out if it had to be from a gun or a melee hit, which is good. It's not singling out anyone that wants to get over there. But that would be really good for people that like grenade launchers. Right? So hitting 5 or more enemies with a single attack grants 25% reload speed for 5 seconds. You can... what grenade launcher is it? Do I even have one? Let's go to the shop real quick. That way we have all the guns available to us and we can look them over as well. Oh, new video.
An operative lives or dies by their weaponry, but the supply situation's dire, so we use whatever we can get our hands on. I've cleared you for access to the Armory Exchange. From there, you can requisition reconditioned weaponry recovered from the field. Be sure that you're always carrying the best that's available.
Look at that shit. Oh.
Looking for a specific weapon type? Put in a request with Quartermaster Brunt, or one of his servitors. What you get won't be top of the line, but it should cater to your tastes.
Reclamation Zone 15A.
All right.
Unit operation.
I wonder why they did a new video for the armory. Okay, but I was thinking of the Rumbler, the single action grenade launcher. Obviously, you want better ammo than this. Carrying only 21 shots is kind of sucky. But I mean, with that reload capability, you'd be able to just pop those off super quick. That'd be really nice. And then all the damage included if you came down the shooting direction, right? So I wonder how point blank barrage would work with the grenade launcher. Guess we would have to test it out, right? But I think that's a cool ability, especially for grenade launchers. I don't think it would benefit the twin link autocannon very much because it's a single hit. So one bullet out of the twin link autocannon I don't think hits 5 targets. I think it does go through, so maybe... No. I just thought it looked like it passed through it. Maybe that was like an armor piercing kind of thing, or goes through multiple targets, but I'm not seeing that. Ammo stash. Increase your ammo reserve by 25%. Okay. So if you think of the grenade launcher, with the grenade launcher, with having extra ammo, 25% of, what was it, 21 on that one? And that was just a gray weapon. So, yeah, you get more. Pretty cool. Modifiers. Operative modifier. This one is heavy melee damage plus 10%. Range damage 5%. Alright, let's go over the 3 auras we can get. First up is Bone Breaker's aura. Plus 10% heavy melee attack damage for you and allies in coherency. So this is a good buff if you have the Zealot. There we go. The Zealot. Or maybe smack happy Ogrins in your party. This will give them the buff. Stay close. Plus 20% toughness replenishment for you and allies in coherency. Keep your team alive. Coward culling. Plus 20% damage against suppressed enemies for you and allies in coherency. Again, for shooting, obviously, this seems like the shooting tree, right? You stay to this side, you're going to be more effective with gunplay. Good middle build, and then good melee build. So, if you stay in line, if you stay in your lane, you'll get what you're supposed to get, right? Only when you're more confident in the skills and how they act and the guns that you have, I would recommend maybe going through and zigzagging and picking and choosing. But all in all, I'm liking it. This one gives you plus 10% toughness, damage reduction, 15% toughness, 5% melee damage. It looks like a lot of passives right here. So if you come down this skill tree, I think you can still get to these passives. But again, you only have 30 points. So I like to, let's go with the frag bomb. I'm gonna burn them so I can get both of those. Or I could choose not. Oh, you can deactivate it. Almost like returning the point. Okay, that's kind of cool. And I still have 4 points left over. So even if I do this entire side, I'm still left with 3 points to kind of branch off. So get the damage reduction, get like the health boost, more toughness. There we go. So you'd be able to branch a little bit. And then if I decide to get rid of that one, I can go with so heavyweight. I get a 30% damage against bulwarks, and I also receive a 30% damage reduction against them. That's nice. So, passives. We'll start over here. Too stubborn to die. 100% toughness replenishment while below 25% health. Really good. Delight in destruction. Plus 10% damage resistance per bleeding enemy in melee range. Stacks 6 times. No stopping me. Become uninterruptible while charging heavy melee attacks. So you'll never be able to be like staggered, stunned, or otherwise while charging up that big swing. That way you keep all your buffs going. Dominate. Plus 30% rending for 10 seconds on elite kills. Nice. Attention Seeker. Blocking or pushing enemies taunts them for 8 seconds. That's pretty cool, because if you just run around with your melee weapon and start just pushing everyone and then just start swinging, like mosh pit style, man. Get stuck in. On activating your combat ability, you and allies in coherency gain plus 20% movement speed and are also immune to stuns and suppression for 4 seconds. Payback. Plus 20% damage for 5 seconds after being hit by a melee attack. Bruiser. Plus 5% combat ability, cooldown reduction when you or an ally in coherency kill an elite enemy. Nice. And this was the combat ability, I assume. So you would get more reduction, cooldown on that, so you can keep this rolling. Keep it active. That way you're just causing everyone to come after you. Towering presence. Plus 50% coherency radius. Nice. So that will make damage. So enemies like veterans and whatnot that want to be in a good shooting advantage, I should still be able to reach regardless of where I am. Oh. Disconnected from the server. Because I wasn't moving around enough. Okay. Yeah. Unstoppable momentum. Plus 20% movement speed for 2 seconds on range kills. Increase explosion radius by 22.5%. Massacre. Killing an enemy grants plus 1% critical chance for 6 seconds. Stacks 8 times. And then suppression dealt, toughness damage reduction. Mobility and placement. You take negative 15% reduced damage while bracing a ranged weapon. Won't give in. Plus 20% damage reduction for each knockdown or incapacitated ally within 20 meters. No pushover. Blocking an attack reduces your push cost by 20% for 5 seconds. Implaceable. Plus 15% damage reduction while charging a melee attack. Heavy melee damage boost. Health boost. Plus 10% health. And range damage boost. Ranged 5% increase there. So, Keystone ability. Burst Limiter Override. 5% chance of triggering a lucky bullet and not consuming ammo when making range attacks. Maximum Firepower. Plus 20% ability cooldown reduction for 2 seconds when lucky bullet triggers. More Burst Limiter Overrides. Your chance of triggering lucky bullet is increased by 8%. Good shooting. The shot that triggers lucky bullet is a guaranteed critical if it hits. Pretty cool. Feel no pain. You are blessed with 10 stacks of feel no pain. Okay. Each stack grants 2.5% toughness replenishment and 2.5% damage reduction. Taking health damage removes 1 stack. Stacks are restored every 6 seconds. Pained Outburst. When Feel No Pain reaches 0 stacks, you push back enemies and replenish 25% toughness. This effect can occur once every 30 seconds. Strongest. Pushing enemies restores 1 stack of Feel No Pain. Toughest. Feel No Pain grants 2.5% toughness replenishment per stack. Cool. Heavy Hitter. Damage for 7.5 seconds on a heavy attack hit. Stacks 5 times. Just getting started. While Heavy Hitter is at 5 stacks again, or gain, sorry, plus 10% attack speed. Unstoppable. While Heavy Hitter is at 5 stacks, toughness replenished from melee kills is increased by 10%. And Brutish Momentum. Heavy Hitter duration is refreshed by light attacks. Nice. Okay. Well, that is the Ogryn skill tree, guys. Pretty cool. I like it. Alright. Let's take a look at the veteran. We'll take a look at the veteran now. Wow, right now, Darktide has 10.3 thousand viewers right now. That's awesome. I'm happy to see that. Hopefully this skill tree brings a lot of people back to the game. Puts a lot of new life into it.
I'm glad you're with us.
Again, the only thing they need to do with the veteran is add scopes. Just add some scopes.
I will assist.
Can't be a sharpshooter without some scopes. I'm not even really seeing like a new weapon or anything. Let's check here real quick. No, I'm not seeing anything new.
Concluding service protocols.
I like the pictures up here. Alright, looks like different types of grenades for the Blitz ability. Pretty cool looking aura abilities. And they don't, he doesn't have a keystone ability like the Ogryn did. Okay. Alright, so we'll start at the top with some of the passives. So right off the top, we have a long shot. Deal up to 20% range base damage. Bonus is reduced the nearer the target. I think that needs worded differently. Bonus is reduced the nearer the target. Okay. Maybe it's just how I read it. Maybe bonus is reduced closer to the target. I don't know. Keep their heads down. 25% range attack suppression. Volley adept. Plus 30% reload speed on elite in specialist enemy kill. Close order drill. Up to 33% toughness damage reduction the more allies in coherency. So you want to stay near your allies with him. Charismatic. Plus 50% aura radius. Demolition team. You and allies in coherency have a 5% chance to replenish a grenade on elite or specialist kill. Vanguard. Negative 20% sprinting cost. So you can definitely sprint longer and more often. Tactical reload. Plus 20% reload speed if your weapon contains ammo. Exploit weakness. Critical hits apply 2.5% rending to the target. Alright, let's go over the blitz abilities here. Shredder frag grenade. Throw a frag grenade that explodes after a short delay. Apply 6 stacks of bleed to all enemies hit, causing damage over time. This is an augmented version of the frag grenade. Crack grenade. Throw a grenade that deals devastating damage. Sticks to flak armor, carapace armor, and unyielding enemies. So really good at taking out armor. That's what a crack grenade is. Smoke grenade. Cool. Throw a grenade that creates a lingering smoke cloud for 10 seconds. The cloud blocks line of sight for most enemies and reduces the sight range of enemies inside of it. Nice. So if you're having a melee heavy horde coming on top of you and you have a lot of bad guys getting into position to start shooting, chuck that smoke grenade over there, block them from shooting at you, make them have to move or whatnot. That way it throws off the gunners, get rid of the melee heavy horde in peace without being shot up, and then go after those gunmen. Really cool tactic if used properly, I think. And then some buffs here, operative modifiers. You get a 5% melee damage there, 5 health there, and range damage there. A few more passes under that. Get back in the fight. Stun immunity, slow immunity for 6 seconds, and restore 50% stamina when your toughness is broken. Nice. So it allows you to kind of get away and then start shooting again. I think I'd run away, get into a shooting position to gun enemies down. Catch your breath. Replenish 5% toughness per second when there are no enemies within 8 meters. Grenade Tinkerer. Improve your chosen grenade. Crack grenades do 50% more damage. Frag grenades do 25% damage and radius. Smoke grenades last longer, 50% duration. So they would last 15 seconds instead of 10. It doesn't really say the damage of the crack grenade, unless it's the same damage as like a regular frag, but it doesn't say the damage of a frag grenade either. So not sure what the damage. I think they need to put that in the skill. It doesn't specifically say the damage of a regular frag grenade or the crack grenade. So we need to know that. Covering fire. When you kill an enemy with ranged attack, allies within 5 meters of the target replenish 15% toughness and receive 10% to all base damage for 30 seconds. That's really nice. Because if you have an Ogryn that is playing tank and aggroing everything to attack them, pushing and shoving, you keep the enemies cleared off of them by killing them. This will keep buffing. It looks Yeah, of the target, replenish 15% toughness and receive base damage. So you're pretty much buffing your teammates. If they stay in melee and you stay behind and shoot the enemies that they're in melee combat with, and you kill them, you're gonna keep your pretty much your line buffed with 15% toughness and base damage. That's pretty cool. Twinned Blast. 10% chance to throw an additional grenade. This still only consumes a single grenade. Awesome. Make that smoke thicker, maybe, or double the shredder grenades, or double crack grenades on like monstrosities. Only a 10% chance, but still, if you can get a double crack grenade on a monstrosity, pop that sucker. Out for Blood. Your kills replenish an additional 2.5% toughness. Cool. Let's go over auras now. I'm loving it. I love it. There are some cool builds, I think. And I think this will change it all up. You'll get such a variety of gunmen, veterans. I'm looking forward to seeing them all. Survivalist is the first aura. Replenish 1% ammo for you and allies in coherency whenever any of you kill an elite or specialist enemy. This is an augmented version of Scavenger. And Scavenger replenishes 0.75%. So really small. This is a full 1%. Fire Team. Plus 3% damage for you and allies in coherency. Close and kill. Close and kill. Plus 5% movement speed for your and... Am I just really bad at reading? Plus 5% movement speed for your and allies in coherency. I think that's supposed to be for you and allies in coherency. That does say your, right? For your... I think it says... Okay. I think they need wording. Critical chance boost. You get... That's an operative modifier. So critical hit chance, toughness, damage reduction, and reload speed. Alright. Line of passives here. Kill zone. Plus 15% base range damage when there are no enemies within 8 meters of you. Opening salvo. The first 10% ammo after a reload has plus 10% range critical hit chance. Nice. Field improvisation. Ammo crates also restore grenades. Medipacks heal 100% faster, cleanse corruption, and replenish 1% toughness per second. That's pretty cool. Demolition stockpile. Replenish 1 grenade or grenades every 60 seconds. Grenadier. You can carry 1 extra grenade. Nice. Leave no one behind. You get a 20% assist speed and revive speed. You get a 20% movement speed when moving towards a knockdown or incapacitated ally. Whenever you revive a knockdown ally, they receive 33% damage reduction for 5 seconds. Awesome. So you can build a combat medic if you did it right. I dig it. I might try to build a combat medic. Dope. Like it. I really like it. Might hit that one. This one. Let's see what the abilities are. Executioner Stance. Enter range stance for 5 seconds. When in range stance, you instantly equip your ranged weapon. Deal 25% range damage, 25% ranged weak spot damage, and your speed and recoil greatly reduced. Elite enemies and specialist enemies are highlighted for 5 seconds. Base cooldown 25 seconds. This augments augmented version of volley fire. And it looks like the modifiers don't lock. Nope, none of them lock. So you can get them all to modify the shooting stance here. Executioner stance. So, one modifier for it. Enhanced target priority. Executioner stance now outlines elite and specialist enemies for allies in coherency for 5 seconds. Nice. Okay. Relentless. Killing an enemy outlined by executioner stance refreshes the duration of its bonuses for 5 seconds. Counterfire. Executioner stance now outlines all ranged enemies. Ooh. Nice. Okay. Voice of Command. Replenishes your toughness and staggers all enemies within 9 meters. Base cooldown 45 seconds. Pretty much be a commissar, just scream at everyone. Modifiers for it. Duty and Honor. Voice of Command now also provides you and allies in coherency with 50 plus 50 toughness for 10 seconds. This can exceed your maximum toughness. Nice. That's awesome. Only in death does duty end. The Voice of Command revives knocked down allies within radius. But also reduces that radius by 33% and increases your ability cooldown by 33%. That's pretty dope too, though. But you go with the combat medic idea I have. You hit this, some of these. You only do this in like dire need. That's not bad. That's pretty cool. Infiltrate. Replenish all toughness and enter stealth. Ooh, that's new. For 6 seconds. Gaining 25% movement speed. Leaving stealth suppresses nearby enemies. Attacking makes you leave stealth. Base cooldown 60 seconds. See what the modifiers are for it. Low profile. 90% threat for 10 seconds on leaving stealth. Cool. You don't want to become a target. Hunter's Resolve. Infiltrate provides 50% toughness damage reduction for 10 seconds on leaving stealth. Cool. Surprise Attack. Infiltrate now also grants 30% damage for 5 seconds when leaving stealth. Overwatch. Your combat ability gains 1 charge, but 33% cooldown. So you gain extra charges of it, I guess. Okay. Operative modifiers. We have a range damage boost, reload boost, another range damage boost, stamina boost, suppression boost, and then we have a lot of more passives. So a lot of passives in the veteran, but not necessarily, in my opinion, a bad thing. I think that's pretty cool. lots of passives to boost very specific things to let you focus on more serious things like the grenades, staying in coherency, helping your friends, ammo, that kind of thing. I'm liking it. So we'll go down each line here till we get to ability modifier. Ooh, I just noticed that too. So 2 things affect using infiltrate. Huh. Okay. So at the top, we have exhilarating takedown, replenish 15% toughness and gain 10% toughness, damage reduction for 8 seconds on ranged weak spot kill, sacks 3 times. Dead shot, we got 25% critical chance and 60% sway reduction while using your ranged weapon's alternative fire, but lose 8% stamina per second and an additional 4% per shot. And then in the middle that links those, you get toughness damage reduction, precision strikes, 15% weak spot damage, shock trooper, critical hits with las weapons, so it makes you more focused on laser weapons, so not the bolter, plasma, the auto guns. Makes you really want to choose a las gun, any of the las guns, I think. So critical hits with las weapons consume no ammo. That's really cool. So for all of you that are really good at dome shots, you'll never run out of ammo. Toughness boost, 15% toughness. Determined, gain suppression immunity. Nice. And then we have operative modifiers, more stamina regeneration. We got toughness damage reduction. Always prepared, 25% more ammo. Nice. Toughness boost. And then at the bottom we have marksman. On ability use, for 10 seconds, any weak spot hits again 50% more power. When using infiltrate, this is applied after leaving stealth. So, let's see. Attacking makes you leave stealth. So once you go into stealth, you take that first shot. But I don't think that shot gets the bonus. Your second shot will get the bonus, which I think is okay, because on ability use, for 10 seconds, any weak spot hits gain 50% power. So you'd use your ability to go into stealth, right? And then you take your shots, and then you have 10 seconds to start hitting those weak spots, and it'll be at a 50% power. Pretty cool. Middle tree, we have tactical awareness, combat ability cooldown reduced by 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. Bring it down, 25% damage to ogrins and monstrosities. Superiority complex, plus 10% damage, base damage on elite enemies. Then we have health boost and toughness boost. Iron Will, plus 50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. Confirmed kill, replenish 25% toughness on elite or specialist enemy kill, and a further 25% toughness over 10 seconds. And then, operative modifier, Inspiring Presence. This is one I haven't seen yet in the 2 skill trees. Plus 10% toughness replenishment for you and allies in coherency. So this modifier helps not only you, but everyone. Competitive urge, 2.5% chance of 20% damage. Let me reread that. 2.5% chance of 20% base damage, 20% melee impact, and 20% suppression for 8 seconds whenever an ally kills an enemy. Okay. Born Leader. Allies in coherency replenish 15% of any toughness that you replenish. Nice. Rending Strikes gives 15% rending to all weapons. And then Toughness Boost. And for the Emperor, your combat ability gives you and allies in coherency 20% melee base damage and 20% range base damage for 5 seconds. Nice. Alright, and the last skill tree here, Duck and Dive. 30% stamina on avoiding ranged attacks by dodging, sprinting, or sliding. Don't know what that is. Okay. But it gives plus 5% critical hit chance for 8 seconds on successful dodges. Stacks 5 times. And then stamina regeneration. Serrated Blade. One stack. A bleed on the target on melee hit. Doesn't look like there's a limit up top to that. So as long as you can keep hitting the enemy, you can keep applying bleed. Onslaught. Continuous hits to a single target applies 2.5% rending for 5 seconds to the target. Stacks 16 times. Then we have a toughness boost, range damage boost, and a melee damage boost. Skirmisher. 5% to all base damage for 5 seconds after sprinting. Stacks 3 times. Desperado. 10% melee critical hit chance and 25% melee finesse bonus. Trench Fighter. Drill. Plus 15% melee attack speed. Nice. And then we have a toughness boost. Close Quarters Kill Zone. Plus 30% close damage for 10 seconds on combat ability use. When using Infiltrate, this begins on leaving stealth. So I see why they put the Infiltrate at the bottom of those two abilities. Okay, that skill tree looks pretty cool. We will do the Psyker next. Alright, be right back. Alright, guys. Need more tea. I need more drink.
Shouldn't you be doing something?
Alright, let's see what the skill tree is for the Psyker now. I like the pictures at the top. So let's see. The Psyker does have a keystone, where the Veteran doesn't. The modifiers do lock. The Blitz ones do not. So you can have all the Blitz modifiers. Alright, so the passive abilities from the top. We have Soul Stealer. Replenish 15% toughness on warp attack kills. Perilous Combustion. Killing an elite or specialist enemy applies 4 stacks of Soul Blaze to nearby enemies, causing damage over time. Quietude. Replenish 5% toughness for each 10% of peril quelled. So you still have perils of the warp that you have to deal with. Warp Expenditure. Replenish 2.5% toughness for every 10% peril generated. Metal. Critical hits replenish 5% toughness. Also grants 5% increased movement speed for 4 seconds, stacks 3 times. And we have Perfect Timing. Plus 3% warp damage for 10 seconds on critical hits, stacks 5 times. And I don't know if I did that one. I don't think so. Battle meditation, 10% chance to quell 10% peril on kill. Nice. And then operative modifiers, we have toughness boost and more toughness boost. So let's go ahead and look at our blitzes. And I'm assuming these are like brain burst, the brain burst ability. Yep. So these will replace your brain burst now. Some of you may have liked brain burst, which I'm assuming this one right here keeps it, just modifies it a little bit. And then this changes it to a different ability, which is really cool. So finally we got a new ability for the Psyker instead of just brain burst, which I never use that much. I preferred to use the staff because it gave me the electric or missiles or whatnot. Brain rupture. Charge up your psychic power and release it to deal immense damage to a single enemy. Effective against flak and carapace armored enemies. This is an augmented version of Brain Burst, dealing 50% more damage. Nice. And then you get, I'm assuming, both of the buffs that come with it. Kinetic resonance. Using your combat ability makes your brain rupture charge 75% faster and generate 50% less perils for 10 seconds. So this combat ability down here will help you use Brain Burst more and accrue less perils of the warp, so less chance of you exploding yourself. Kinetic Flare. All attacks have 10% chance on hit to brain rupture the target. This cannot occur while at critical peril, and has a cooldown of 15 seconds. We have Smite, which will replace Brain Burst. Unleash a torrent of bio lightning. Charge to deal high damage and high impact to an enemy on release, or channel a continuous stream that deals low damage but high impact over time, spreading between multiple enemies. So we turn into the Sith, is what I just heard. Oh, with the lightning staff, mix it with Smite. Oof. Whoever likes lightning, this is your boy right here. You want to become Thor? That's how you do it. Lightning Storm. Increase the number of times your Smite jumps by one. Enfeeble. Enemies affected by your Smite take 10% increased base damage from all sources. I'm sorry, honey. Assail. Throw swift homing projectiles formed by psychic energy, less effective versus carapace armored enemies. So you turn into what? Like you have throwing knives? Like Gambit? Something like that, maybe? Ethereal shards. Projectiles from Assail now pierce additional targets. Cool. quick shards. Sale charges replenish 30% faster. Okay, and then we have some operative modifiers. Peril resistance. Negative 5% peril generation. Nice. And toughness damage reduction. And then some passives here. Wildfire. When an enemy dies while affected by your soul blaze, nearby enemies each gain up to 4 stacks of soul blaze. They cannot gain more stacks than the dying enemy had. Psykinetics Aura. Decrease ability cooldown for you and allies in coherency by 5% on elite or special skill. Mind in Motion. Your movement speed is not reduced while quelling peril. Malefic Momentum. Plus 4% damage to warp attacks for 8 seconds after a non-warp based kill. Stacks 5 times. And then we have toughness damage reduction, inspiring presence, and toughness damage reduction. So now we're on to our auras. Our first aura is kinetic presence. Plus 10% damage, elite and specialist enemies, for you and allies in coherency. Seer's presence. Plus 10% cooldown reduction on abilities for you and allies in coherency. This is an augmented version of the quickening, which gives a 7.5%. So this jumps it up to a full 10 instead of 7.5. You and your allies in coherency gain plus 4% critical hit chance. Nice. I like these. They're pretty straightforward. This is damage reduction against elites and special enemies. Really good to have, especially if you can stay in coherency with everyone. This reduces everyone's combat ability. Awesome, right? That way your Ogrins can keep enemies on them using that one ability, or your gunmen can keep shooting. Passives. Unlucky for some. When an ally in coherency gets knocked down, replenish 50% toughness to all other allies in coherency. One with the warp. Gain toughness damage reduction of 10% to 33% based on your current peril. So it'd be, with this, you want to keep your peril as high as possible. Evasion. A critical hit makes you count as dodging against range attacks for 1 second. Anticipation. 50% dodge duration. Increases the number of dodges before dodges starts becoming inactive by 1. Peril resistance, toughness damage reduction, range damage boost. Alright, so now we're on to our combat abilities, which look pretty good. I'm wondering if the combat ability is going to be separate. I don't mean separate. Like maybe be another ability on top of like Brain Burst or Lightning. Just give you more magic to work with. But we'll see. Venting Shriek. Unleashes a wave of warp energy that staggers enemies in front of you. Quells 50% peril. Nice. That's pretty cool. Looks like some of the text on that's missing. Becalming Eruption. Venting Shriek now decreases peril generation by 1% for each enemy hit, stacking 25 times, lasts 5 seconds. And then you'll be able to pick one of these modifiers. You'll be able to pick Warp Rupture. Your Venting Shriek now also deals 100 to 200 damage based off of your current peril percentage. Or you'll be able to get Creeping Flames. Venting Shriek applies 1 to 6 stacks of Soul Blaze to targets hit based on your current peril. Both are nice. Ooh, a shield. Tuckaline Shield. Spawns a psychic shield in front of you for 15 seconds. The shield blocks enemy ranged attacks while you and allies can still shoot through. Cooldown of 40 seconds. And the cooldown for Venting Shriek is 30 seconds. Sorry. So you will be able to go left or right from the shield. And you'll get either Inverting Threshold. The shield has a 10% chance to stun enemies that pass through it. Specialist enemies have a 100% chance to get stunned but also damage the shield. Bolstered Shield now holds up to 2 charges, so you can throw down more than one shield. That's pretty cool. The shield now forms a spherical shield, which lasts 20 seconds. Okay, so I'm assuming the shield is pretty much a block in front of you. This is, like it says, a dome. So if everyone gets inside the dome, you're protected the whole way around you. Enemies from behind you, front of you, sides. Instead of that, the dome kind of replaces the bolstered. But again, you would lose the threshold. So that's pretty cool. Sanctuary. Allies inside your dome shield replenish 10% toughness each second. When your shield dissipates, all allies inside gain 50% toughness damage reduction for 5 seconds. Some of these abilities force you to play closer together and more as a team, which in my opinion has been kind of sorely lacking. Coherency was a cool idea, but it didn't feel as necessary sometimes. Here you want to stay in coherency, or at least nearby your teammates as much as possible, because you never know when your teammate is going to pop the dome and protect you, and then you're going to get some buffs from that. So staying near your teammates is more crucial, especially, you already know, once you get into higher levels, working as a team and communicating is absolutely paramount. You need to, or you're going to die. Let's see what this one is. Scryer's Gaze. Triggers Scryer's Gaze when... okay, I don't know why it said it triggers it. When entering Scryer's Gaze, you gain 10% damage and 20% critical chance. For every second in Scryer's Gaze, you gain 1% damage up to a maximum of 30%. Wow. This effect lingers for 10 seconds after leaving Scryer's Gaze. While in Scryer's Gaze, you build up peril. Build up is temporarily slowed down by enemy kills. At 100% peril, Scryer's Gaze ends. Huh. So, could you almost, if you did it right, could you almost permanently stay in the gaze? that might be something to try out. That's pretty cool. Because if you can find a way of not reaching 100% peril, you know, keeping yourself below that threshold as long as possible, you'd stay in it almost indefinitely. Now, the middle modifier doesn't lock anything. Warp speed. Scryer's Gaze now also increases your movement speed by 20%. Why is there 2 plus signs? I think they need to go through and fix some of the text on some of these abilities. But 20% while active. So definitely you're zipping around when you're in the gaze. And then you have a choice of one of the other modifiers. The first one is a reality anchor. The gaze now also reduces your peril generated by 20% while active. So this even slows down how quickly you generate peril to keep you in it longer. So that's a great modifier to have. The other one you can choose is precognition. Weak spot kills count as 1 second spent in Scryer's Gaze. For each second spent in the gaze, you now also gain 1% finesse damage, up to a maximum of 30%, which lingers for 10 seconds after leaving the gaze. Pretty cool. And then, depending on if you picked precognition or a reality anchor, you'll be able to pick endurance. The gaze now grants 20% toughness damage reduction while active. I like those abilities. Those are pretty cool. I'd be hard pressed to figure out which one I really want. Even up here in the blitzes, it changing how the brain burst works and stuff it does. I like it. The lightning, the smite lightning, love it. And then being able to throw stuff like, what did I say, Gambit? That's pretty cool. Let's see. Some of the passives below the auras. Oh, no, we're further down than that, huh? Okay. You get peril resistance, health boost, critical chance boost after the abilities. Now we'll do each skill tree leading down to the keystones. So the first one is Puppet Master. 50% radius for your coherency aura. Pretty good. You get damage reduction. Other passive, you get solidity. Increase quell speed by 30%. And a toughness boost. And you get Warp Scion. Killing an elite or specialist enemy gains you a warp charge of 25%. Of 25 seconds. Stacks 4 times. Your next combat ability spends all available warp charges to reduce the cooldown of that combat ability by 7.5% per warp charge. And then some of the keystone abilities. Now, some of them lock the other. So, Inner Tranquility, negative 6% peril generation reduction for each warp charge. And if you don't go that direction, you can go Essence Harvest, replenish 30% toughness over 5 seconds on gaining warp charge. Gaining a new warp charge during this time resets the timer. And then you'll get Empyrean Empowerment. Increases all base damage by 4% for each warp charge. And then one of these locks the other, so you'll be able to pick between Infire Reborn. Killing an enemy with Soul Blaze has a 10% chance to grant you a warp charge. Psychic Vampire, if you don't want the Infire Reborn. Psychic Vampire, whenever you or an ally in coherency kill an enemy, you have a 4% chance to gain a warp charge. And then you will get warp battery. Can store up to 6 warp charges. I'm not sure if it tells you how many warp charges you can have before this warp battery. I didn't see anything. Maybe that's something that needs to be... and it also looks like you can, kind of like loadouts, you can pick a loadout with specific weapons and stuff like that. So if you want very specific weapons to go with your talent build, you are capable of doing that. That's pretty cool. Alright, the middle tree. You get Warp Rider. Up to 20% damage from all sources based on your current peril. You get toughness boost. And then the keystone ability, Empowered Psionics. Kills have 7.5% chance to empower your next blitz. So this buffs your blitz ability. So your brain burst, your smite, or your assail. Pretty cool. And then this is what it does if you have brain rupture, smite, or assail. So for brain rupture, gives you 100% peril cost reduction, 50% cost cast time reduction, and then 50% damage. That's pretty good. Brain burst was already pretty potent on elite enemies and big guys. It's usually left those dudes up to a psyker to just pop real quick, get them out of the way. This will do great amount of damage. Awesome. Empowered Smite, 30% damage, 25% faster spread between enemies. So you send that out there and it just spreads like wildfire or wild lightning. Empowered Assail, 100% peril cost reduction, base damage increased from 100 to 150, does not consume any charges. Oof, that's pretty cool. Throw like crazy. Bio Lodestone increases the chance to gain Empowered Psionics on kill from 7.5% to 12.5%. And if you don't want the Lodestone, you can get Overpowering Souls, guaranteed chance to gain Empowered Psionics on elite kills. Awesome. The middle ability doesn't lock anything. You will be able to at least get that one if you want it. Using your Blitz while Empowered Psionics is active replenishes 15% toughness to you and allies in coherency. Nice. And then you'll be able to get the very bottom one when you go one direction or the other. Charged Up. You can now hold up to 3 stacks of Empowered Psionics. Nice. Nice. I'm really liking the skill tree for the Psyker. Obviously, to see how the skill tree works and if it's changed anything game wise, we're gonna have to test them all out, obviously. I'm hoping a lot of other people that have maybe played this game in the past or currently playing it are seeing the benefit from this. I think this changes some stuff, or at least I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping it doesn't feel like the same game, and they just made a skill tree out of it. Which, in my opinion, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing like they took the talent points that you got every 5 levels and turned that into a skill tree. I'm seeing a complete overhaul. This is completely new. Obviously, all you had was Brain Burst when you played the Psyker, no matter how you built him. Now you got new abilities, different types of auras, They don't all do the same thing. A shield, a kinetic shield, you can block enemies. Pretty cool stuff here. I love it. Makes every psyker feel different. And then it allows, if you have your friends, a 4-man team, and you get together, you can then go into the map room. Like, here, we'll go into the map room real quick. Look at missions. Oh, new video for that too.
Found your way to the mission terminal, did ya? Guess that means I can't have you executed. Not yet. This is the heart of the operation. Your best friend if you want to stay in my good books. Atoma's in trouble. No two ways about it. The only hope we have in this mess lies in us sending our strike teams where they're needed. Making a difference wherever we can. For as long as we're still breathing. No guarantees on that last bit, by the way. So, ready to be a hero? Then think again. You're a reject. Fight like it.
You're a reject. Fight like it. Got it. So, like, when you go into this, you have your orc levels and stuff like that. Yeah. So, when you want to go in here and say you want to make money, all right, you really want the money-heavy missions or maybe the experience missions. I mean, if you're level 30, it's not going to necessarily matter about the experience. And even if you're low level, still having a few points, level 5 or 6, you know, anything like that, you can still kind of pick and choose your build to fit in the mission to help your team. You know, so if you have a 4-man team and you're friends and you can communicate well with one another, like on Discord or just, you know, in the game chat or whatever, however you choose to communicate, you can work out your build to fit the needs that the team might need, like the auras to buff replenishment so abilities can be used more often, stuff like that. So I think that allows a little more flexibility for people that maybe are okay with changing up their build, maybe find excitement in doing so. That way, you know, they fit that niche that that team needs, you know, instead of just changing up your weapon. Like going from the lightning staff to the fire staff because your team's like, oh, that staff sucks, use the lightning one. Picking your talents to fit what your team might need to bolster them in one area of combat over another is very fun. It's very cool. It allows for those people that like building characters, you know. So we have one more skill tree to go down here real quick. And then we'll be on to the Zealot. I keep forgetting the Zealot. I want to call her a sister, but she's not a sister. She's just a Zealot. Kinetic deflection. While below critical peril, blocking an attack causes you to gain peril instead of losing stamina. Gained peril is 25% of the blocked attack's stamina cost. Movement speed boost, you get 5% movement speed. So you can get really mobile with the Psyker by some of these boosts and whatnot. You can get really fast. Moving and lightning and shooting, kind of cool. True aim. Landing 5 weak spot hits grants your next range attack a guaranteed critical. Cool. Then you get a toughness boost. And then your keystone ability, Disrupt Destiny. Every second, enemies within 25 meters have a chance of being marked. Killing a marked enemy replenishes 10% toughness, grants 20% movement speed for 2.5 seconds, and adds a precision bonus for 15 seconds. Each precision bonus grants 1% damage, 2% critical damage, and 2.5% weak spot damage. Precision bonus stacks 15 times. Alright, the middle ability doesn't lock anything. So, Purloin Providence, I think I said that right. Killing enemies marked by Disrupt Destiny have a 20% chance to instantly quell 15% of your peril. Pretty cool. Lingering Influence will lock Perfectionism. Increase the duration of the Disrupt Destiny from 15 seconds to 30 seconds. Okay. Buffs the length of time it's active. Perfectionism. Maximum precision bonus stacks are increased from 15 to 30. So, pretty cool. Gives you more chance of laying in more damage longer. And then one of the abilities you'll be able to get, no matter what side you go down here, you'll get Cruel Fortune. Weak spot kills grant 2 additional stacks of Disrupt Destiny. Pretty cool. I dig the Psyker. I might actually play as the Psyker more. That makes me eager to play as the Psyker. That is phenomenal. That's awesome. Again, I really like my my Veteran and my Ogryn, but that makes me very eager for the Psyker. Awesome. Alright, let's see what the Zealot has in store. Alright, Zealot. Let's see what you got in store for us. Ooh. Interesting. I did see in one of the videos the Preacher kind of build. Right here, he had like that amulet that he's holding. And he was holding it out like it was buffing his team. He wasn't like attacking, I don't think. He just had it out like it was an aura, like ability. And he was just like walking with his team, and it was like buffing or maybe protecting them. It looked pretty cool. So let's throw so has a keystone ability. There are some ability modifiers at the very bottom. They don't lock anything up. Does look here, if you pick one direction off the keystone ability, it does lock the other. Same up there. Same right there. Okay, let's go down it. Let's see what the Zealot has. Hopefully it makes me as hyped as the Psyker to play more as the class, because again, I played way more as the Veteran and the Ogryn. Alright, Disdain. Plus 5% on your next melee attack for each enemy hit. Stacks 5 times. And if I didn't say it, these right here are all passives. So you should be able to unlock all of them if you really wanted to. And by the look of it, there's no harm in just going maybe passive heavy. Maybe augmenting only the grenades and taking all the passives and keeping a lot of the old like aura and combat ability. Because it looks like even with, let's see. I'm only level 23, so this is only like 23 points. So, I mean, I put in almost 23 points at the very top. So you could just get all the passives if you really wanted to. Let's just take that one real quick. You could take all these. Yep, look at that. That's 23 points. And I still have 7 levels before I hit maximum. Okay. But I'm not going to do that. But just showing you that you could possibly do that and never touch any of this down here. I'm not sure if that would stunt your build. Like, it wouldn't make your build very viable. It may make it really good. Who knows? Next passive, Anoint in Blood. Up to 25% base range damage reduced the further you are from the target. So you want to be right in their face, pretty much. Backstabber. Plus 20% damage on melee backstab hits. Enemies within, enemies without. Replenish 2.5% toughness per second while within 5 meters of at least 3 enemies. Fortitude in Fellowship. 25% coherency, toughness, regeneration. Purged Unclean. 20% increased damage against infested and unyielding enemies. Blood Redemption. The toughness you regain on melee kills is increased by 50%. Scourge. Melee critical hits apply bleed, causing damage over time. Melee attacks on bleeding enemies grant 10% critical chance for 3 seconds, stacks 3 times. Okay, below that we have toughness boost, toughness boost, toughness boost. Bleed for the Emperor. Damage that would take your health to the next wound is reduced by 50%. Really cool. Really good. So you can definitely stand there and take the hits. Vicious Offering. Replenish 7.5% toughness on heavy attack kills. The Voice of Terra. Replenish 2.5% toughness on range kills. Restoring Faith. On taking damage, heal 25% of that damage. Occurs over 5 seconds. Second Wind. Replenishing 10% toughness on a successful dodge. Enduring Faith, 50% toughness damage reduction on critical hits for 4 seconds. Pretty cool. Alright, the Blitzes. Looks like we have some grenades and throwing knives. So, Stun Storm Grenade. Throw a grenade that stuns all enemies within its blast radius. This is augmented version of Stun Grenade with 50% blast radius. Pretty cool. Cool. I wonder if it changes. I think everyone may remember the old Stun Grenade, how it did like a flash smoke a little bit, sound like firecrackers on the ground. I wonder if it'll change the animation of that as well. That's something to also check and see. Immolation Grenade. Ooh. Throw a grenade that leaves a layer of flaming liquid, burning and staggering enemies and barring their path. Most effective against unarmored enemies. That's pretty cool. Blades of Faith. Throw a consecrated knife to deal high damage to a single enemy. Very effective against most enemies. Less effective versus carapace and armor. Quick throw, killing elite and special Enemies in melee replenishes 1 knife. Ammo boxes replenish knives. Pretty cool. I like that. I'm kind of digging that immolation grenade though. Melee damage boost, and then toughness boost and toughness damage reduction. Alright, let's go down each skill tree here to the aura. First one, we have a movement speed boost. And then we have Duelist, 50% weak spot and critical hit damage for 3 seconds on successful dodges. Until death, fatal damage instead grants you invulnerability for 5 seconds, occurs every 120 seconds. So every 2 minutes you can avoid death, pretty much. Dispersion, 20% melee damage for 5 seconds when stamina is depleted. So running a lot, depleting your stamina, and then, well, I think you deplete stamina when you're swinging too, right? Or shielding, I think, blocking. Holy Revenant. When until death ends, you gain health based on the damage you dealt during until death, to a maximum of 25% max health. Melee damage dealt heals for 3 times that amount. Pretty cool. It gives you a chance of really keeping yourself in the fight. And then the aura, Benediction. 15% toughness damage reduction for you and allies in coherency. This is an augmented version of the base aura, the Emperor's Will. Pretty cool. Alright, the middle, the Emperor's Bullet. Gives your melee attacks 30% impact strength and 10% attack speed for 5 seconds after emptying your ranged weapon. So this makes you kind of hopping back and forth between shooting and melee. This isn't the kind of zealot you just want to whip out your melee weapon and that's about all you use the entire match. This gives you that back and forth a little bit, which is kind of what you want to do. Unremitting. Negative 10% sprint stamina cost. Shield of Contempt. When you or an ally in coherency takes damage, they gain 75% damage reduction for 4 seconds. Triggers every 10 seconds. Awesome. Sainted Gunslinger. 3% reload speed on melee kill. Stacks 10 times. Hammer of Faith. Plus 30% impact strength. Cool. And then the aura that is down that tree, which locks all the other auras, obviously. Beacon of Purity. Heal 1.5 corruption from the current wound for you and allies in coherency every 1 second. Wow. Allows you to get rid of some of that corruption. That's pretty cool. Before, you're relying on med stations to get rid of the corruption. Now this gives you a chance of at least getting it back and keeping everyone in the fight. Really helps. Alright, next one. We have Dance of Death. Negative 75% spread and negative 50% recoil for 3 seconds on successful dodges. So, really buffs your shooting. Thy wrath be swift. Enemy melee attacks cannot stun you. On taking damage, gain 15% movement speed for 2 seconds. Good Balance. A successful dodge grants 25% damage reduction for 1.5 seconds. Grievous Wounds. 50% stagger on melee weak spot hits. Absconded or Obscaded. 20% damage to ranged backstab attacks. Oh, so if you shoot someone in the back, it is considered a backstab. That's specific to melee. Or okay. Interesting. Loner. You always count as being in at least 2 coherency. I wonder what that means. Okay. Have to play with that, see what that means. Buffs. You get a stamina boost, toughness damage reduction, and toughness boost. First combat ability. Fury of the Faithful. Dash forward, replenish 50% toughness, and gain 20% attack speed for 10 seconds. Your next melee attack gains 25% and is a guaranteed critical hit. Base cooldown is 30 seconds. This is an augmented version of Chastise the Wicked. Redoubled Zeal. Fury of the Faithful now has 2 charges. Dope. Pretty cool. Alright. Course of Spiritual Fortitude. Yield a holy relic that releases pulses of energy every 0.8 seconds. While channeling, allies in coherency have stun immunity and invulnerability. Each pulse replenishes 45% toughness to allies in coherency. If the ally is at full toughness, they instead gain 20 max toughness up to a total of 100 max toughness. Base cooldown is 60 seconds. That is dope. I like that ability. That is pretty freaking cool. How can you buff it? You will get at least this buff for sure, and then you'll have to pick one or the other. Banishing Light. Each pulse from Course of Spiritual Fortitude also staggers and suppresses enemies. Range increases with every pulse. Awesome. Alright. So if you go left, Holy Cause. Channeling 5 pulses grants 25% toughness damage reduction to you and allies in coherency. Lasts 10 seconds. And if you go right, really don't know what that's. Ecclesiarchs. There we go. My brain had to process the word. Ecclesiarch's Call. Channeling 5 pulses grants 15% damage to you and allies in coherency. Pretty cool. I like that ability. This makes you just keep charging and ramming into people, getting into the thick of it. Next ability is Shroud Field. Ooh, you enter stealth. Enter stealth for 3 seconds. While in stealth, gain 20% movement speed, 100% backstab damage, 100% finesse damage, and 100% critical chance. Cooldown is 30 seconds. You want to be a ninja priest? That's how you become a ninja priest. So one of the modifiers locks the other, and then you will absolutely get the bottom one. Top one is Master Crafted Shroud Field. Stealth duration is increased to 6 seconds. Awesome. It allows you more time to get into that good position behind maybe a monstrosity or a corrupted ogrin and getting that max damage in. Killing it. Perfectionist. Shrouded Field grants an additional 50% finesse damage and 100% backstab damage, but increases ability cooldown by 100. So, wow. Additional 50. So 150 finesse damage. 200% backstab damage. And the cooldown will take 60 seconds instead of 30. Bro, that's a lot of damage. Use that on like bosses and stuff. That's you wouldn't use this on like small targets anymore. If I think you went this direction, you would save it for the really heavy duty ogrins, the demon host maybe. If you end up running into one of them and you accidentally trigger her, this would end her pretty quickly. Or bosses. I think this ability then would turn into a very specific ability for taking out hard targets. Invigorating Revelation. replenish 40% toughness over 5 seconds on leaving stealth. Also gain 20% damage reduction for 5 seconds. I like those abilities. Those are pretty cool. Then you get suppression boost, toughness damage reduction, melee damage boost. Then we have some passives here. We have punishment. Melee attacks that hit at least 3 enemies grant 30% impact strength for 5 seconds. Stacks 5 times. At max stacks, gain uninterruptible. Faithful Frenzy gives you plus 10% melee attack speed. Awesome. Makes you quicker at killing. Sustained Assault. Plus 4% melee damage for 5 seconds on hitting an enemy with a melee attack. Stacks 5 times. Alright, going down towards the first keystone ability. We have movement speed boost. Passive, the Master's Retribution. Knock back the attacker on taking a melee hit. 10 second cooldown. So this can happen every 10 seconds to an enemy melee attacker. Pretty cool. Invocation of Death. Melee critical hits reduce combat ability cooldown. Cool. So you can, even though this would be 60 seconds, you get those critical hits in with your melee, and you can lower that. So then you would be able to use that huge damage from upgrading with Perfectionist more frequent if you had this ability modifier. That's awesome. Keystone ability, Blazing Piety. 15% critical hit chance for 8 seconds. When in Fury, Fury is triggered when 25 enemies have died within 25 meters. Okay, cool. Alright, you can go down left or right. If you go left, Stalwart, triggering Fury replenishes 50% toughness. And below it, Infectious Zeal. Allies in Coherency gain 33% of the critical hit chance granted by Blazing Piety. And if you go right, Fury Rising. Critical hits also count up towards triggering Fury. Righteous Warrior, 10% critical hit chance from Blazing Piety. Alright, health boost in the middle. Then we have Faith's Fortitude. You get a +2 in wounds. Pretty cool. Martyr's Purpose. 1% of damage taken is converted to ability cooldown reduction. Nice. So again, that would be a good thing to pick too, along with this. Or this, but I'm thinking about the damage that this puts out, lowering that 60-second cooldown if you went Perfectionist. So, pretty cool. And then the Keystone, Martyrdom. Each missing wound grants 8% melee damage up to 9 missing wounds. Whoa. I think the highest amount of wounds I've ever had on a character was like 5. So, being able to get it up to a character up to 9 or even 10, so you're still alive, so you're on your last wound and you're pumping out damage. Dope. If you can get a zealot into 9 wounds and you're just constantly in the middle of the thick getting hit, giving the hits, that's pretty cool. The buffs don't lock each other for Martyrdom, so you will be able to get I Shall Not Fall. Martyrdom grants 5% toughness damage reduction per missing wound. Maniac. Martyrdom grants 4% attack speed per missing wound. Holy balls. Holy fuck. Murder all of them. Kill everything that moves. Right there. And then that. Good God. Alright. We have Sustained Assault. I don't know if I read that. Yes. And then we have toughness damage reduction. Swift Certainty. Increases sprint speed by 10%. In addition, always counts as dodging while sprinting, even if stamina is depleted. Pious Cutthroat. Backstab kills restore 20% ability cooldown. Oh, nice. Nice. Lots of good cooldown right here. These are all cooldown to make you use these more often. Pretty cool, regardless of which one you pick. And if you get the cooldown for Fury of the Faithful and you have 2 charges on that beast, oh, getting into it. Go with Fury of the Faithful. Come down here, get some of these. And the best part is you can get, if you do your skill tree right. Let's try it. I just want to see. Replenish toughness on heavy attacks. Let's avoid that one. Damage that would take your health. Let's go with that one, and then we'll go with that grenade. I just want to see if I can get down here and see if I can get maybe all of these cooldowns. That'd be pretty cool. Weak spot and critical hit damage. Doesn't matter. We just pick real quick. There's one cooldown. There's another cooldown. And then if I level, I can get the other cooldown. And then I can get that buffed up. I can get the toughness reduction. Toughness damage reduction. I can get the stamina. Let's see. 7 levels, right? So we would want martyrdom. So that's 1 level. 2 wounds, we definitely want that. That's another level. So 1, 2, 3 shall not fall. Maniac, that's 4. I have 3 points left. So I would want 3 points based on range damage. I wouldn't want that. I would want the backstab. I could do those 3 and get the toughness. I could do that one and get these 2. Ooh, man. Hard to choose, but I think that would be a pretty cool build right there. Get all those cooldowns. Because any damage taken gets converted to cooldown. Melee critical hits reduce combat ability. And then backstabs. So you'd be able to pop this more often. Oh, I would want that one. So that would leave me with 2 more points. So I would definitely want to put at least a point in the toughness boost. And then probably a point in the backstabber. Yeah. Pretty cool. But let's do let's do the keystone. Inexorable Judgment. Moving grants you momentum. Stacks 20 times. When you hit an enemy, spend all momentum, gaining plus 1% melee attack speed, 1% range attack speed, and 1% damage per stack. Last 8 seconds. And then the modifiers do not lock each other, so you'll be able to get both. You'll be able to get Retributor Stance, replenishing 2% toughness for each spent stack of momentum. And Inauberate's Poise. I'm butchering these words, I guess. Gain 3 stacks of momentum on a successful dodge. Alright, guys. Digging these skill trees for all of them. I'm going to end the stream here for going over the skill trees. I'm going to try playing some of it Thursday. Maybe I'll try getting on tomorrow to work. We'll see how long tomorrow lasts for work. It's a big day. But if you would like to see some of the builds and seeing some of the mix and match, and I'm going to try playing a lot of variety. I'm going to try this skill tree out real quick. Maybe at some point try the different abilities. Like I said, seeing if the animation is different for the stun grenade to the stun storm grenade. With the Psyker, seeing the magic abilities, playing each one, showing you guys the builds, and seeing how they work. Maybe even going over loadout, seeing if some of weaponry changes anything. I haven't went over some of the weapons yet to see if any of that changes. Maybe some of the abilities on the skill tree. I'm eager to see if that is a case as well. But like I said, I haven't seen any of that yet. If you like the video, you want to see more, you want to see, maybe give me some pointers on builds or something you want to see specifically happen, see if it works for you. That way you can try it out. Make sure you hit that follow button. That way you know when I go live. Also, I'm going to post these videos to my YouTube. Links in my description. So go over there. Make sure you like, comment on the video. It helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next stream.